Women educators are natural givers, pouring into their students, their families, and communities. But what about pouring into you? This is the Educator Sanctuary, where we help you ditch the guilt and unapologetically put yourself at the top of your list. I'm Dr. Leah, educator, mindset coach, and your guide to creating a life where you align with your purpose and reclaim your power. So if you're ready to set boundaries and step fully into the woman you're meant to be, you're definitely in the right place. Let's get into it. Hey, and welcome to the Educator Sanctuary, where we have big conversations, mindset shifts, personal growth, and all the things that help you live more intentionally. This week, listen, it is not going to be any different from any other week. You already know that I am coming with something that has been on my heart and mind, and I believe it's another seed planted to help you grow and live your best life now. Today, I really want to talk about this idea about are you actually ready for the blessing you have been asking for? And that doesn't have to be one, it can be all the things that you have been desiring in your life. I don't mean, do you want whatever it is you're asking for? Because of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be asking. I don't mean, do you pray about it or write it down in your journal? Because I know you do that too. I mean, if it showed up tomorrow or today, would you truly be the kind of person who could hold it, maintain it, and thrive in it once it has arrived? Because that is where a lot of us are getting stuck. We think delay means the blessing isn't coming, but sometimes it's not about the timing, it's about the identity. And honestly, I don't think that is talked about enough. So, I like to take it back to something personal, and I'm going to do that for you today. But I learned this back in 2016 when I was training women in fitness and nutrition. Women would come to me fired up. I'm ready to change my life. I'm ready to build a lifestyle. I don't want to do a diet. I don't want to just lose weight. I want to get healthy and I want to make this a lifestyle change. And yes, the goal on the surface was usually about weight loss or fitting better into their clothes, but the real battle was never food or exercise. It was always identity. They would come and they would have this idea of a body type that they wanted, or outfits that they would like to wear, or who they used to be back in high school. But when it came to doing the work, showing up at the gym consistently, changing their diet, giving up things that they might have loved to eat, but their bodies didn't love it, that was different. They didn't want to give it up. They wanted to make a compromise. They, in fact, were not ready to shift into the identity of the person that prioritized health and fitness as a lifestyle. That was the idea that their conscious mind wanted. It was not the ideal lifestyle for their subconscious mind to adapt to. Bread, that's a big thing, right? And a lot of women know that bread leaves them inflamed and bloated. They know it's not serving them. They know they don't feel good after eating it. They know that when they eat bread or other heavy starches that they would rather go to sleep. And honestly, a lot of people identify with this and they call it the itis, or wow, that meal must have been so good because it made me tired. Not even really understanding that if food makes you tired, it doesn't agree with your body. It's not something that your body wants, because food should energize you. But bread is comfort. Potatoes are comfort. Macaroni is comfort. It's culture. It's Sunday dinners and family gatherings, and maybe even a quick fix if life felt heavy. They were not wrestling with carbs. They were wrestling with who they believed they were without tradition. And then in the gym, there's another thing that will always make me shake my head, but it's when women would walk in and grab 5 or 10 pound dumbbells. Now, I'm the kind of person that would say, excuse me, I think you can go bigger. And they would always look at me like, no, that's too heavy. But in my head and sometimes out of my mouth would come, if you can carry around a baby on your hip, you can absolutely lift more than 10 pounds. Or if you can lug groceries in one arm and your purse and a backpack or anything else in the other, you can absolutely pick up 5 or 10 more pounds. I already knew that they had enough strength. They had more than enough to pick up 15 or 20 pounds, but that looked intimidating. It wasn't about the weight. It was their belief about what they could do that kept them from picking up heavier weights. And then my last example would be about women who cut their hair off. I've been seeing all over social media for the past couple of years that if you cut your hair off, you're a woman ready to shift into a different identity or a different type of you. They call it part of the becoming her package. And they say, oh, I'm ready for a new chapter. I'm ready for a new season. And they meant that. But when the reality hit and they cut their hair off, the upkeep, the styling, everything that made them uncomfortable came into play. And I want to say this in the most loving way possible. All of the things that I have given examples to, whether it was the food, whether it was the weights, or whether it was the maintenance of short hair, it caused people to do something uncomfortable. They wanted the idea. However, they had not stepped into the identity that matched the ideal version that would maintain those things for a lifestyle change or long term. And all of this taught me something, and it is wanting the blessing is never enough. You have to become the person that can hold it. And this doesn't just apply to food or weights or hair. This applies to every single area of your life. You say you want peace, but are you still entertaining drama? Are you still in conversations where people are gossiping? Because peace doesn't thrive in a life where chaos is constantly invited. You might say you want financial freedom, but how are you handling what you already have? Because the money itself never fixes people or habits. It magnifies more of who you are. So if you're struggling to manage $100, then $1,000 or $10,000 will not solve your problem. It will just maximize your struggle. There is more that we don't talk about. A lot of times you are getting the things you asked for. You are getting a new job. You do get the raise. You do get into a new relationship. You might move to a new city or house. But when you look around, your life still very much feels the same. You're still in those same emotional cycles. You're still overwhelmed. You're still doubting yourself. You're literally still living the same exact reality. The only thing that has changed is maybe the name of your job or the address on your mail. You might get a new title or a new partner or a new zip code, but understanding that if your inner world has not shifted, your outer world cannot transform. And that is because external change doesn't equal internal transformation. I'm going to say that one more time. External change doesn't equal internal transformation.
I have worked at many places, mainly because I'm not the person for a job, so I could never keep them. But my bosses were all the same, no matter where I worked. They were all the same. I have been in several relationships, and the people that I've dated in those relationships were the same people with a different face and a different name. I knew that when I made some changes within the past couple of years, that everything about me or that I knew about me needed to shift because I knew changing my state or changing my job or changing the people that I hang around would be the exact same if I had not looked inside of me and determined what needed to be healed or shifted or let go. Not only is
Hey, Educator Sanctuary listeners. Are you a homeschooling mom or thinking about it, but feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or maybe unsure how to confidently guide your child's learning journey? Maybe you're craving time for self care, rest, or just a break, but you feel like you're doing it all on your own without anyone to turn to for help. Let me introduce you to Purpose Prep Academy, an online and in person STEAM micro school for learners in grades K 8. Purpose Prep Academy isn't just any school, it's a space where young minds are nurtured, empowered, and taught to lead with confidence, curiosity, and purpose. Purpose Prep Academy focuses on providing students with the academic tools they need while fostering personal growth to help them thrive both inside and outside the classroom. At Purpose Prep Academy, they offer personalized learning, foster critical thinking, and provide real world applications to help students become 21st century leaders and change makers. If you're looking for a program that can help you reclaim your time, give you peace of mind, or simply give your child a space to thrive, Purpose Prep Academy could be exactly what you've been looking for. Want to learn more? Visit purposeprepacademy.org to schedule a virtual meeting or an experience day and find out if Purpose Prep Academy is the right fit for your family.
shifting internally and seeing the transformation on the outside, my personal experience, but it's also the personal experiences of others. And it's also backed by psychology, neuroscience, spiritual wisdom, wherever you want to look for this information, it is there. Your brain is wired to reinforce the identity that you believe is true. And you may not believe it out of your mouth. Like out of your mouth, you may say, I deserve to be a millionaire. But subconsciously, you're identifying with the you that may have grown up with not so much. You're tied to doing all of the things that a person who is not a millionaire would do. So if you wanted to truly be a millionaire, how do you embody that? I always see people that are not 1000% happy in their relationships. Content, maybe, but not truly happy. And then the question becomes, what is holding you back in being in a relationship that truly doesn't fulfill you? A lot of times there's healing that needs to take place and identities that need to be released. And sometimes those come from our religions or our generational and cultural beliefs, things that we are holding on to that makes us say that, no, I must be tied to someone, even if my life doesn't advance much more than this. That I have to learn how to be comfortable. I have to learn how to love this person, even if it means giving up everything that I wanted in life. What shifts do we need to make in our minds in order to move forward, in order to not be stuck? Basically, if you keep seeing yourself as someone who is stuck within your mind, someone who's not ready, someone who's always waiting, or someone who's not deserving, you'll always keep living that reality no matter what changes around you. I remember thinking that no one was going to want a woman who already had children by someone else. I can look around in my actual reality at other people who have found someone to love them and who is their perfect person, and they have way more children than I do. So I know that what I have adapted in my mind is just an untrue statement. I used to walk around with the perception to believe that I had to be working hard in order to make an income that I felt worthy of. I have been wrestling with that identity that I have been wanting to give up. And I have to train my mind that I don't have to work hard, that there are people who do things very easily and effortlessly, that there are people who have made products and services extremely mediocre, and they are multimillionaires doing less. So I do not have to do more. It is basically about the identities that our subconscious mind have attached to based on what we have been programmed with, and a lot of times from birth, and did not have control over those things. But now that you know, and now that you are becoming aware, you do have control over these things. So when you decide that you want to begin to shift your identity, even if it's slightly, your brain starts to rewire. Your habits will then start to follow. Your decisions will then start to change, and your reality will begin to reflect the new version of you, not because something magical has happened, but because you finally aligned with who you were meant to be. So this is a part in this particular podcast where I want you to mark this timing, because this is the place that I would like you to come back to. You are more than welcome to listen to this podcast in its entirety, but also be mindful of where this is taking place, because this is something that I would want you to be able to come back to later. If you're driving, you cannot do this, obviously, but if you are in a place, this is a moment within this podcast where you are able to close your eyes and picture all the things you desire. But now picture the version of you that has your desire. If you were someone with, and everybody doesn't need to be a millionaire. So let's just say you're someone and you thought, wow, if I made $250,000 a year, that would change my life. What would the version of you that makes $250,000 a year do in the morning? What does your morning look like? What kind of energy do you carry when you walk into a room? What does your calendar say no to without guilt? What types of people surround you? And how do they speak life into you? What types of books do you read? What are you listening to? What are you watching? What do you do to relax when you don't have to get up to go to work every day? Now go deeper. What types of clothes are you wearing? What type of posture do you have? And what does your posture say about you when people look at you? What is the tone of your voice when you're speaking to people? What are your boundaries that you have for the people that surround you? Can you feel her confidence, her clarity, and her calmness? And this doesn't just have to be about the woman that's making $250,000 a year. But what about the version of you that wants to be a healthier version of you? What does the healthier version of you eat? How often are you moving your body, even outside of the gym? Is that version of you wrestling with giving up your favorite cookie or pie or piece of bread? Or is that version of you making cauliflower rice and healthier versions of desserts that taste good because you know that your health is your wealth? What about the version of you that is in your best and most ideal relationship? Do you have to remind someone of how to love you? Or have you attracted the man who knows how to love you? Or should I say partner? Forgive me out there. But have you attracted the person that loves you without you having to tell them how to love you? Have you attracted the partner that knows you love a specific color of flowers and just brings them just because it's Wednesday? If you are a person who likes to travel, have you attracted the person that matches your energy and wants to travel the world with you? For every example that I have given, none of these things are far off fantasies. Whatever your desires are, what you need to achieve them is already inside of you. And she, that version of you, is just waiting for the permission to lead. So today I am asking you to give her that permission, to let her speak, to let her choose, to let her guide you. Because when you start living from that place, you're not just hoping, you're embodying. You're shifting the atmosphere around you. You stop chasing and you start attracting. You stop doubting and you start deciding. Please listen to this as many times as you need to. And here's your homework for the week. Write down just one big desire that you've been asking for. Just one. It doesn't have to be all of them. And then start to describe the version of you that already has that desire. How does that version of you live? What do they say yes to? What do they say no to? And then start to choose one small action that aligns you with the version of yourself. It doesn't have to be huge at all. If you want peace, maybe today you start saying no to one unnecessary commitment. If you want financial freedom, maybe today you choose not to swipe your card on an impulse. If you want better health, maybe today you reach for water before you grab soda or juice. The point is not the size of the action. The point is that you take a small action that starts to rewire your brain so that you can begin to align yourself with the identity that you absolutely desire. The people around you are not going to be happy, and ask me how I know, because I have been saying no far more than I ever have, and I have been choosing me far more, and I have been very expressive about this does not work for me. And no is a complete sentence. You don't even have to explain it. It's simply no, I'm not available for that. And when you're saying no to things that don't serve you, it also means that you're saying yes to things that do. After a while, as you continue to start showing up as that version of you, things will start to shift. People will notice. Doors will start to open. The blessing doesn't feel so far off anymore because you already will start to feel like you have it. And then that's when it finally shows up. It feels natural. And it feels natural because you've been preparing for it all this time. And this is the part of the show where I say, if this has spoken to you, please share with a friend who's also waiting on their desires to come to pass. Also, do me a favor and follow us on every platform. We are on Instagram, we are on TikTok and YouTube. You can even watch these episodes on YouTube. That way, when you want to watch them, you can. And when you are driving and it's best to listen, you can. So if you're not following on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe over there. And while you're at it, please leave a review everywhere you're listening to us, especially here on this podcast platform. I do go back and check every week and I look to see if our reviews have stayed the same or if the podcast is continuing to grow and expand because of your reviews. I will say thank you so much because I just checked last week and we are being listened to in 4 countries, including Singapore, the UK, the Netherlands, and of course here the United States. And within the US, people are listening in over 30 states and 80 different cities. My mind is blown. So I do want to say thank you because that is amazing. I also want to say thank you for being a part of this growing community, but I do need your help to keep sharing and keep spreading this word and help us keep growing all together, because I believe we're all here and we're serving the same purpose. If you have listened to this episode, go back and listen to more. I believe I am on episode 33 at the time that you're listening to this. So go back and binge on some of the other shows. I have to admit that sometimes I do go back and listen to them. I'm like, wow, this is good. Wow, that was good. And I just get so amazed each time. There is a blessing in each and every show. And every single time, I'm always hoping to be able to touch one life that can make one change to start living the life that they desire from listening to an episode. So if you love it, please listen to more, but also please share. And remember, none of this is about asking for more. It's about becoming the person who can hold more, because the blessing is never the end goal. It is the byproduct of you stepping fully into who you are meant to be. And with that said, I will see you next week. Have a great one. Thank you for joining me in the Educator Sanctuary, where we create a space for women educators to reclaim their power and prioritize themselves unapologetically. If you've loved what you've heard, please do not forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share this podcast with other amazing women who need to hear this message. Until next time, remember, you are capable, you are powerful, and you are absolutely worthy. You've got this. Talk soon.